Hello, and welcome to the team project demonstration video for the Wine Data Lake team. My name is Marilyn Larry, and my teammates Aaron Thompson, Bryce Kazabinski, and myself worked with Jim Couples, the CEO and co-founder of All the Farms, to create the Wine Data Lake application and API. Jim originally had a collection of wine tech sheets which contain information on individual bottles of wine, such as the wine grape varietal used, the winery, and the year the wine was bottled. He wanted to make something similar to the All the Farms application to allow users to explore the tech sheets and for industry partners to track the interests of those users who are potential customers. The previous Capstone team for the Wine Data Lake project parsed those tech sheets and stored the data from those sheets in a database. Our task was to take that database and make the data within it and the tech sheets associated with it accessible and explorable to users via a front-end and API, and to track the information users were most interested in, say a particular varietal or winery, for eventual use by industry partners who can use that data to focus their marketing efforts.
So the highlights of the Wine Data Lake project are that we provide a simple user interface for wine lovers to log in, search for tech sheets based on criteria, mark those tech sheets as favorites so they can come back to them again, as well as get a randomized selection of tech sheets, which might lead to new discovery of wines and wineries. We've also provided an API that will allow third parties to easily pull and parse the same data that we are using for our front end. Altogether, it will make finding tech sheets and finding wineries a much more enjoyable experience for those who are using our application, as well as third parties who might be using the data.
At the start of this project, all we had was the database and the raw data source, the PDF tech sheets. Our first step in development was to collaborate with our stakeholder, Jim, to determine and plan out the essential functionality of the application. From this meeting, we got our two main goals of the project. First, to develop a front end to search among and display the tech sheets, which included an infinite scroll of all available tech sheets, a user profile that could be used to keep track of favorite wines, wineries, varietals, etc., the ability for users to like or favorite specific wines, and an analytics page that tracks some key performance indicators that could be of interest to the wine industry: average weekly visitors, average time spent on a tech sheet, etc. Secondly, we needed to develop a backend to connect to the existing database, including building an API that can perform CRUD operations on the database for retrieving and updating the tech sheets within it, and a mechanism or mechanisms for managing users, registering favorites, and storing and retrieving analytics. We used this list of goals to divvy up tasks for the project. Our next step was to develop a design using Figma to plan out how the front end of the application would look and how users could interact with it. And with that, we needed to plan out the technologies we wanted to use. We settled on using React for the front end, Auth0 for user authentication, and Django for the API, which later on got switched to Flask. After we confirmed access to the database, we could create a repo and start coding. We set weekly goals at the beginning of the project, as well as regular meeting times with our stakeholder to keep track of our progress.
So the Wine Data Lake project used a series of technologies whose main goal was to pull in a set of data that had been scraped from PDF tech sheets that we were hosting in a PostgreSQL instance. The backend was Flask, and we chose Flask because it's great with microservices. It has a lot of documentation, and it handles HTTP and RESTful response requests through standard packages that you can easily deploy. React was used on the front end, and React is great with modularity. It also is flexible, it has great speed, and it has support for mobile user interfaces. The backend and the front end also used bearer tokens and ID tokens that were provided by Auth0, which allowed us to basically use that service instead of building those technologies internally within our own application. And finally, we have the application hosted on Google App Engine, which is an all-in-one application. You don't have to use multiple services to deploy a website.
Our project did have to change a little bit from what we first set out to accomplish. We had dramatically underestimated the amount of time it takes to create and make some of the simplest things. For example, on the front end, we had to sacrifice some aesthetic functionality, carousel, infinite scroll, things like that. On the back end, we had hoped to get key performance indicators measured and to track some metrics about how users are accessing and kind of working through the different parts of the site. And we were able to accomplish that just because of time limitations. So the largest challenge we had was estimating how long a task would take. And then basically what we learned was to like quadruple it. Take whatever time you think it's going to take and quadruple it, because something as small as adding a button took dramatically longer than we had originally anticipated. And so that was our largest challenge that we faced as a team, is getting an accurate estimate on how long it was going to take to create some of these deliverables. Let's take a quick tour of the Wine Data Lake web app. On the landing page, I'm presented with several tiles featuring different wines. I can refresh the page and get some different ones from the database. In the upper right-hand corner, I'm prompted to log in or sign up. I already have an account, so I'm going to click log in, enter my credentials, and now in the upper right, I can see some information about me as a user. And anytime I can click the Wine Data Lake logo and return to the front page. There are a couple different ways to check out some of these wine tech sheets. I can click Surprise Me, or I can click one of the tiles in the background. I can also filter my search. Let's say I want to see a Pinot Noir. I'm thinking 2017. Now I'm presented with my search results. I only got 4. I can take criteria off and expand my search. All right, now I got 11. I can also view the site on mobile. Let's search for a wine from 2015. And let's repeat the search on the desktop so we can compare. On the tech sheets page, I can see information about the wine. I can see a preview of the original tech sheet, or I can download that PDF. I can also use the arrows to navigate through the database, checking out some new and unique wines. And that's just some of the functionality available through the Wine Data Lake web app. Thanks for watching.
We created a proof of concept application and standalone API that can be shown to wineries as a potential product that they could utilize in the future. As this project continues, the previous Wine Data Lake team's project, the PDF scraper that scraped the data from the tech sheets, should be integrated with this one to allow users or wineries to upload their own tech sheets in order to grow the database. Adding key performance indicator analytics will be essential when this is done. This project could also utilize a geolocations API to explore the wine and winery metadata in relation to American viticultural areas or other geographic features. Thanks for watching.